The doors of Downton Abbey are opening one final time. The great estate stands tall against the winds of change, its walls holding stories of love, sacrifice, and secrets that shaped a family for generations. Now, as the year turns and the world outside moves closer to the unknown, the Crawleys prepare for the chapter that will define their legacy forever. This is not just another visit to Downton. This is the last farewell, the moment where every decision, every heartbreak, and every triumph will come together for one grand finale. Downton Abbey began as a simple idea, a drama about an aristocratic family and the lives of those who served them. Yet what it became was far greater. When it first appeared on television, no one could have predicted the cultural wave it would start. Viewers around the world were drawn into the life of the Crawleys, not just because of their titles or wealth, but because their struggles mirrored our own. The themes of family loyalty, love, duty, and change spoke across time and class. The show grew into a household name, celebrated for its elegance, emotional depth, and detailed look into the early 20th century. It was never only about the grandeur of the estate or the glittering dinners. It was about the fragile balance between tradition and progress, about people caught between the old world and the new. Audiences witnessed the fall of empires, the scars left by war, and the rise of social change, all through the eyes of a single family and their loyal staff. These stories were crafted with care, blending history with personal drama, making us feel as though we too walked the halls of Downton Abbey. When the television series ended, many feared that would be the last time they would see these beloved characters. Yet the magic of Downton could not be confined to the small screen. In 2019, the first film brought fans back to the estate, with all its charm and grandeur intact. The Crawleys faced new challenges, royal visits, and the shifting tides of modernity. The success of that film proved that Downton Abbey was not just a series. It was a timeless story that could continue to captivate even in cinema. A second film followed, filled with emotion, joy, and bittersweet goodbyes. And now, against all expectations, we arrive at a third film, the final chapter in this extraordinary journey. This finale is not simply another continuation. It is a farewell to a world that has touched millions. It is a promise of closure, not only for the characters, but for the audience that has traveled alongside them for over a decade. With Michelle Dockery as Lady Mary and Matthew Goode as Henry Talbot at the center, this story takes us into the late 1920s and early 1930s, a time of both elegance and uncertainty. The estate, once untouchable, now faces questions about its survival in a rapidly changing world. Yet no matter how much changes outside its gates, Downton Abbey remains a symbol of continuity. It is a place where generations meet, where laughter and tears coexist, and where every decision carries the weight of legacy. The grand finale is not just about endings. It is about remembrance. It is about honoring the journey while preparing for the inevitable farewell. And as the music rises and the story unfolds, one truth becomes clear. This is not just history. This is the heart of Downton Abbey itself. The year is changing, and so is the world beyond the gates of Downton Abbey. The Crawley family, once certain of their place in society, now face questions that have no easy answers. In the grand finale, we return to the estate at a time when tradition and modernity collide harder than ever before. The late 1920s drift into the 1930s, a decade that promises both opportunity and uncertainty. The Crawleys, guardians of an ancient legacy, must now decide whether to hold on to the past or step forward into a future they cannot yet see. At the heart of the story stands Lady Mary, played once again by Michelle Dockery. She has grown from the rebellious daughter of a noble house into the commanding presence who carries the weight of Downton on her shoulders. In this final chapter, she is not only the matriarch but also the voice of reason, the force keeping the estate alive. Yet even Lady Mary's strength will be tested. Secrets long buried are ready to surface, and choices she has avoided must finally be made. The question is not only whether she can preserve Downton Abbey, but whether she can protect the family's unity as change presses in from every side. Beside her is Henry Talbot, portrayed by Matthew Goode. Once known for his passion for speed and racing, Henry now finds himself in a different race entirely. The race to remain true to his family, to his wife, and to himself, as the world shifts beneath his feet. His journey in the finale is one of loyalty and struggle. Can he adapt to a society that has little patience for old hierarchies? Or will he be torn between his ambitions and his role within the Crawley household? His love for Lady Mary has carried them through storms before, but in this film, it will be tested in ways neither of them expected. Around them, familiar faces return to weave their final threads into the story. Some will bring comfort, others bring conflict, and still others will remind the family of the ghosts they cannot escape. Downton Abbey is not only a home, it is a stage for history, where every dinner table conversation hides an undercurrent of tension, and every grand celebration carries the shadow of change. The film promises a tapestry of intertwining stories, love rekindled, friendships tested, and farewells that will echo long after the credits roll. This is not just another drama set in fine costumes and glittering halls. The grand finale carries the pulse of something greater. It whispers of endings that feel inevitable, yet still arrive with the weight of heartbreak. It teases audiences with questions that can only be answered on the big screen. Will the Crawleys find peace in a world that no longer needs them? Or will the walls of Downton Abbey stand as silent witnesses to a legacy lost to time? In this chapter, the stakes are not only emotional, they are historical. The Crawleys' decisions mirror the struggles of an entire society caught between eras. And as the music swells and the estate doors open once again, the audience is drawn into the most important question of all. When the final curtain falls, what will remain of Downton Abbey? Every great story finds its soul not only in the plot, but in the people who carry it. The grand finale of Downton Abbey gathers its beloved cast one last time, giving each character a chance to shine before the curtain falls. Their journeys are as much ours as they are theirs, and this final gathering feels less like a film and more like a farewell to old friends. At the heart of it all stands Michelle Dockery as Lady Mary. Over the years, we have watched her transform from a spirited young woman into the backbone of the Crawley family. Her eyes once burned with rebellion against tradition, yet now they carry the wisdom of a woman who knows the estate, the family, and the legacy depend on her. In this finale, Mary's strength is tested like never before. She must decide what she is willing to sacrifice to preserve Downton, even if that sacrifice means letting go of the past. For audiences, Lady Mary's journey becomes the heartbeat of the film, a story of duty balanced against desire, of a woman finding her place in a world that no longer bows to nobility. By her side is Matthew Goode as Henry Talbot, the charming race car driver turned devoted husband. Once a man who lived for speed and danger, Henry now finds himself drawn into the slower, heavier responsibilities of family and estate. His presence is more than that of a supportive partner. It is the reminder that Downton's story is not only about tradition, but also about the new lives and fresh ideas that entered its halls. His love for Mary is both his anchor and his challenge. Can he accept a life defined less by his own ambitions and more by hers? Or will he struggle against the role history seems to have chosen for him? Around them, familiar faces return, each carrying the weight of years of storytelling. Hugh Bonneville as Robert Crawley, the Earl of Grantham, remains the steady pillar of the family, though time and loss have softened him. Elizabeth McGovern as Cora, his devoted wife, continues to remind us that behind the grandeur of titles lies the heart of compassion and warmth. The younger generation, too, steps forward, ready to claim their own places in a world shifting toward modernity. And then there are the echoes of those who came before. Maggie Smith's Dowager Countess may no longer stride through the halls, yet her sharp wit and indelible spirit linger in every scene, like a ghostly presence reminding us of the strength of wit and wisdom. The staff of Downton, once the silent backbone of the estate, continue to weave their stories through the Crawleys' lives. Stories of loyalty, resilience, and quiet sacrifice. This final film is not about introducing new players, but about honoring the ones we know, the ones who brought us here. Each actor steps into their role not as a repetition of the past, but as a final bow, a last note in a song that has played for more than a decade. Together, the cast does not just tell the story of a family, but of an era fading into memory, leaving behind characters who will live on in the hearts of audiences long after the credits roll. What makes Downton Abbey so much more than a period drama is not the gowns, the dinners, or the sprawling estate. It is the heartbeat beneath it all. The themes that connect us to these characters, no matter who we are or where we come from. In this grand finale, those themes rise to the surface with greater force, reminding us why this story has held the world in its spell for over a decade. The first theme is legacy. Downton has always been about more than bricks and land. It is about what we leave behind, the values and memories that survive even as time moves forward. Lady Mary faces this truth most of all. She carries the burden of holding together the Crawley name. Yet the world around her is shifting into an age where titles matter less and individuality matters more. The question becomes, is a legacy worth preserving if the world no longer treasures it? And if so, how much of oneself must be sacrificed in order to protect it? The second theme is change, and with it, the tension between past and future. Every hallway in Downton whispers with tradition, but every echo is challenged by modernity creeping in through its gates. Cars replace horses, new politics challenge old hierarchies, and the younger generation refuses to live exactly as their parents did. This struggle is not unique to the Crawleys. It is the same struggle many families face across time. How do you honor what came before, while still stepping into the life that is waiting ahead? Love, too, weaves through the story like a quiet but unbreakable thread. Romantic love, yes, but also the love between parents and children, between siblings, between servants and masters who, against all odds, became companions in one long shared journey. In the finale, love becomes both a source of strength and a test of resilience. It comforts, it wounds, and it defines the choices the characters must make when faced with their final goodbyes. And then there is the theme of closure. For years, audiences have lived alongside the Crawleys. We have celebrated with them, mourned with them, and seen our own reflections in their triumphs and failures. The grand finale offers not just an ending, but a sense of completion. Some arcs will resolve with joy, others with sorrow, and some with the quiet dignity of acceptance. This is the emotional weight of the film. The knowledge that endings are inevitable, but endings also bring meaning. Without them, the story would never feel whole. Above all, the finale is about time, how it changes everything and everyone. The walls of Downton Abbey may stand still, but the people inside cannot. They love, they age, they lose, they begin again. This is why the story resonates so deeply. Because behind the titles and the traditions, the Crawleys are not unlike us. They are human. They fear being forgotten. They yearn for connection. And they hope their lives will matter in the chapters yet to come. The grand finale of Downton Abbey does not shy away from these truths. It embraces them, weaving them into a tapestry that is as emotional as it is grand. It is not just about how the Crawleys will say goodbye. It is about how we, the audience, must also prepare to let go. As the story of Downton Abbey moves toward its last act, the air around the estate feels heavier, filled with both expectation and fear. Every grand finale carries with it a promise. Answers will come, destinies will be sealed, and silence will follow. The Crawleys know this truth, and so does the audience. What remains uncertain is how. The estate itself becomes a character in this final chapter. Its walls seem to listen, its windows watch as decisions are made inside that will decide its future. Once a symbol of power and permanence, Downton now trembles under the weight of a world that is no longer built to sustain it. Guests may still arrive in polished cars, music may still echo through its ballroom, but shadows linger in the corners. Can the Crawleys preserve not just a home, but a way of life that has defined them for generations? Or will the estate stand as a silent monument to an era that has already slipped away? Lady Mary's role grows sharper here. She is the voice of control, the matriarch guiding the family through storms both visible and hidden. Yet beneath her calm surface lies conflict. Is she making choices for the estate, for her family, or for herself? Her bond with Henry, tested by ambition and love, will face its most fragile moment. For years, he has been her partner, her equal. But the finale dares to ask, what happens when two paths begin to drift apart, even in love? Around them, threads of storylines tighten. Long-held secrets threaten to surface. Secrets that could unravel reputations and relationships alike. Friendships forged in loyalty will be tested by betrayal. New opportunities will arise, but they will demand sacrifice. The Crawleys must ask themselves what they are willing to give up, and what they are willing to fight for, to see their world survive. The supporting characters, too, carry their own final battles. The servants who once lived in the shadow of their masters now stand on the edge of a new society, where their voices matter more than before. Some will step into independence with courage. Others will cling to the familiar halls of Downton, as if leaving them means losing part of their identity. Their stories mirror the Crawleys, reminding us that change does not belong to one class alone. It belongs to everyone. And as the threads weave closer together, anticipation grows. Every look across the dinner table feels like it hides more than it reveals. Every smile carries the weight of what is unsaid. The music of the finale rises slowly, pulling the audience into a state of suspense. Will Lady Mary's choices secure the future or end it? Will Henry's devotion hold steady or falter? Will the Crawleys stand united or finally be torn apart by time and truth? The grand finale dares to hold back just enough, leaving the audience caught between fear and hope. It whispers that answers are coming, but only after the last curtain falls. The build-up is not only dramatic, it is emotional, because in the end, we are not just waiting to see how the Crawleys' story concludes. We are preparing ourselves for the goodbye we never wanted to say. The closer we move toward the end, the more every moment feels like a farewell. The grand finale of Downton Abbey is not simply another chapter. It is the last page of a book we never wanted to close. The Crawley story has always been about more than aristocracy or estate life. It has been about the passage of time, about love tested and lost, about change that cannot be stopped no matter how tightly we cling to tradition. And now, that journey reaches its final crescendo. For Lady Mary, the weight of Downton presses harder than ever. She has become the estate's voice, its protector, and its last hope. Yet her role is not just about saving walls and land. It is about saving the meaning behind it all. For her, Downton is more than heritage, it is family. Every room carries echoes of laughter and grief. Every corridor holds the memory of those who came before. As the world beyond her gates evolves into something unrecognizable, she must ask herself if holding on is an act of strength or simply an unwillingness to let go. Henry Talbot stands at her side, his devotion clear, yet his path uncertain. His love for Mary has defined his choices, but the finale pushes him into deeper conflict. Can he truly live in a world where tradition dictates his every move, or will his hunger for independence lead him down a separate road? Their relationship embodies one of the film's greatest questions. Can love endure when the future demands sacrifice? And then there are the Crawleys as a whole. Robert, Cora, the younger generation, and the loyal staff all must face the truth that time does not pause, not even for Downton. Joy and sorrow intertwine as some stories reach their final moments. Marriages may bloom, friendships may fracture, and goodbyes may cut deeper than anyone is prepared for. In this way, the finale becomes more than entertainment. It becomes a mirror, reflecting the bittersweet truth of life itself. Every farewell carries a lesson. Every ending holds a spark of meaning. The emotional weight builds not only from what we know, but from what we fear. The possibility of loss hovers over every scene. Will the estate stand proudly into the next decade, or will it fade quietly into history? Will the Crawleys remain united, or will change scatter them like leaves in the wind? The answers linger just beyond reach, pulling the audience closer with each moment. Yet in all its grandeur, the grand finale does not lean on despair. It carries within it a sense of beauty, a recognition that endings are not failures, but milestones. Just as seasons turn and years pass, so too must stories find their close. Downton Abbey reminds us that goodbyes, though painful, also honor the journey taken. The tears we shed for its characters are proof that they mattered, that their world touched ours in ways beyond costume and setting. As the music swells and the lights of Downton flicker in their final glow, the audience is left with one truth. This farewell is not the end of love for Downton Abbey. It is only the beginning of remembrance. The estate, the family, and their stories will live on in memory, carried forward by those who watched, felt, and believed. And so the story of Downton Abbey reaches its last breath. The grand finale is not just a film. It is a farewell, crafted with the tenderness of goodbye and the weight of legacy. For years we have walked through its halls, shared in its celebrations, and mourned in its tragedies. Now, as the final curtain falls, the audience is asked to do what the Crawleys themselves must do: let go. The final scenes remind us that no legacy survives unchanged. The estate may stand, but its purpose shifts with the years. The people we met at the beginning are no longer the same. They have aged, evolved, lost, and found themselves again. Lady Mary, once young and restless, now stands as the very image of strength. Henry Talbot, once reckless, now embodies love bound by choice. Robert and Cora, the parents who anchored the family, look back with pride and sorrow, knowing their time is fading. The servants, once shadows beneath the Crawleys, stand in the light of a new age. Each of these journeys converges into one truth. Endings do not erase what came before. They preserve it. The emotional crescendo of the finale lies not in spectacle, but in intimacy. It is in the looks exchanged across the dinner table. It is in the footsteps echoing down corridors that will never again be so full. It is in the quiet moments of reflection, where characters realize their lives have been part of something larger than themselves. The audience, too, feels this weight. We are not just watching the Crawleys say goodbye, we are saying goodbye to them. Yet this ending does not leave us empty. Instead, it leaves us with something more powerful: memory. Downton Abbey, from its very first episode to its final film, has reminded us of the beauty of time. It showed us that joy and sorrow can live side by side, that love is worth fighting for, and that change, though painful, is always inevitable. Its characters taught us resilience, its stories gave us hope, and its grandeur gave us a place to dream. The screen fades, but the story remains. We will remember the Dowager's sharp wit, Mary's piercing strength, Matthew's tragic love, Henry's devotion, Robert's honor, Cora's kindness, and the countless small moments of humor and humanity that made Downton Abbey so much more than a period drama. These memories belong not only to the Crawleys, but to all of us who watched. As the music swells for the last time, one message lingers. Some stories are not meant to go on forever. Some stories are meant to find their ending, to close in such a way that we carry them with us, always. Downton Abbey. The grand finale is not only the end of a saga, it is a gift. One final moment with characters who became family, in a place that became a second home. And when the lights dim and the final note fades, we are left with silence. But within that silence lies gratitude. Gratitude for every smile, every tear, every memory Downton Abbey gave us. The Crawleys chapter may be closed, but their story will echo for years to come. This is not the death of Downton. This is its immortality.